Serving their community is who they are because they love where they live. REMAX 3D Real Estate is proud to bring you Heart of Royse City, a video series dedicated to celebrating all the wonderfully great things about Royse City, Texas. On every episode, Dennisha Denney will share Royse City's story through the stories of the people who call Royse City home. This is Heart of Royse City.
Hey y'all, I'm Dennisha Denney, your host of Heart of Royse City, and today we're sitting down at REMAX 3D Real Estate, and I have two very, very special guests. Our guests with us today are Miss Ruth Cherry and Mr. Bobby Summers. How are you guys today?
Great, doing good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for agreeing to come and sit down with me when you really had no idea what we were going to sit down and talk about.
No, we didn't.
So I want to share with our audience why the two of you are here, because if they follow Heart of Royse City, they haven't seen us sit down with two people. But the two of you have schools named after you. And I want us to start there. I want to hear the story about how you both have schools named after you. And let's talk about how the two of you know one another. That's a really cool story, too. Ruth, let's start with you.
How I know Bobby?
How you know Bobby, and then let's talk about your story of how there's a school named after you.
Okay. Well, this little darling was in the first classroom that I went into when I graduated from college, and I started teaching in Royse City. And Bobby was a junior in high school, and I was the 20-year-old junior English teacher. And that's how we first met.
How fun.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that exciting?
Well, it explains why whenever we came in and sat down, you told Bobby, scoot closer to me. You went ahead and, just like you were in school,
he does.
told him what you needed to do.
He does.
I do what my teacher tells me to do.
Well, that's a very good student of you, still
sure.
all these years later.
It is.
So tell us, how did this come to be that now there's a school named after you in Royse City?
Well, hon, I'm still trying to figure that one out. I returned to Royse City. I taught here 4 years, and then I returned to Royse City to live in 1980, and I began teaching here in 1983. And I was a high school teacher, and then they asked me to be principal at a primary school, which I was quite honored, and I did. And then they moved me as high school principal. And that's where I continued my career for 18 more years until I retired. And I guess that's why I hung out, hung in there, you know. But I tell you what, I'm honored to have my name on the school.
That's one of my questions. What does it feel like to have your name on a school?
Honey, well, I'll tell you what. It makes you behave because you get to wondering, well, are they going to take my name off if I do this or that? You know, so you sort of toe the line. But that is such an awesome honor. But my biggest honor was the parents allowing me to be a part of their children's lives. Now that's where the honor comes in.
Oh, I bet.
I truly believe that as educators that we are blessed because parents trust us enough to be an influence on their children's lives.
Right.
And we have some awesome kiddos from Royse City. And this sweet thing right here, we called him Bobcat Summers when he was in high school.
The beginning. It was the athleticism, I believe. Was it, Ruth?
What?
The athleticism?
Yeah, oh, yes, okay. Now, his memories on the football field may be a little bit different than the stats show, but...
Right.
Oh, do you have some football stories for us, Bobby?
Oh, I've got
does
a...
he?
Bobcat. How did you get the name Bobcat? Bobcat Summers.
They just called
it
it
just
that.
fell in there. I don't know who started or how it started, but it started and it stuck. And so, yeah, that's something for, actually, it's been called Bobcat only the last 10 or 15 years maybe. But
Okay, so that didn't start back in high school then?
No, not
that
in high
started
school.
later?
Not
There
in
were
high
other
school.
names there, but
Yeah,
you don't want me to mention
No, we can't
those.
mention those today. We promised each other. I told Ruth she can't be cussing today, so.
And I'm
Keep it
praying.
clean.
I have prayed about it.
So far, so good.
I've done well. I've done well.
We've made it this far.
We're We're so proud of you for that. What was it like, Bobby? We're going to come to your story in just a second, but I want to know, what was it like walking in to be a teacher at 20, to be a teacher, and your students are almost the same age as you?
Well, okay, my dad and mother were educators. My dad was superintendent in commerce, and my mother taught in Campbell. So education was taught around our dinner table, you know. And so Daddy said, you kids, you can't let them know your age. You know, he said, you don't smile for 6 weeks. You know, you go in there and you be real stern, because you won't get them back if you don't, you know.
That's great advice.
And so they really didn't know how old I was. They knew I had just graduated from college, but they did not know my age.
Right.
And so I got my bluff in.
I
And we
believe
had
it.
fun.
I believe it. So what did you teach?
I taught English.
English, okay.
And then I taught a class of typing.
Okay.
We didn't call it keyboarding then, we called it typing.
Well, it really was typing.
Yes, it was.
At that
Yes, it
point.
was.
Did you grow up in Royse City?
No, I grew up in Commerce.
Okay.
And, but my first teaching job was in Royse City.
Was Royse City.
And I lived here. I lived behind Dudley and Miller's house, and they had a garage apartment. And it's behind the stores on Main Street.
Oh,
And that's where I lived for the 4 years
well, you did
that I was here. Yeah.
And so, did you move away? You said you were here for 4 years,
Uh-huh.
and then.
I lived here. Now I'd go home on weekends to Commerce
Oh.
and that type of thing. But no, I just love this town. It's home.
I can see it. And we're going to
It's,
talk about that in a little bit, the things
yeah.
that you love about
Yes.
Royse City. All right, let's move over to Mr. Summers. Let's
There you
talk
go.
about your story.
I'm like Ruth. Now, I don't know how I had the honor to have a school named after me. You know, the only thing.
Hold on just a minute. I know. I'm going to tell him why.
Okay.
I'm going to tell him why. How many years have you been on the school board?
Going on 27.
27 years. Now,
27.
folks, being on the school board is not just a 2-hour meeting
No.
once a month.
And it is not for the faint of heart.
No, it is not. They have to have training and training and training. How many years have you been calling football games?
About 35.
About 35 years. Now, this is
Wow.
not just varsity. This is JV, this is 9th grade, this is junior high, wherever he was needed. How long have you been calling soccer?
As long as they've had soccer in Royse City, which is
I mean,
about
this
12
man
years.
would call and say, listen, see, is this how they sound? Goalie! And he'd be practicing. You know, that's the hours and the dedication
Wow.
he has to the students of Royse City. That's why Bobby Summers has a beautiful school named after him. Now you can talk.
Oh, well,
That was a wonderful intro, by the way.
thank you, Ruth. But I mean, you know, those things were all privileges to me. I mean, those are things that I wanted to do, and I've always enjoyed working for kids. And working with kids and working for kids are two different things to me. And working for kids means that those little stinkers, they need somebody. They need somebody, and they always do.
They need a
And-
voice.
They
And,
do.
yeah, they do. And then, and if you work for them and you go and say, hey, I'm here, So that's one of the main things about the school that, the very first thing they wanted me to talk about was I wanted the theme to be kind.
Be kind.
Be kind.
I love
And
that.
and Ruth is at her school is I love you.
Oh, be kind and I love you.
Yeah, and so Ruth, she's always told all of her students wherever they go, still to this day, and she remembers them all. She tells them that she loves them before they ever go.
Where did that come from, Ruth?
I don't know. It just happens. My mother and dad, when we would end a conversation or something, we'd say, I love you.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was making announcements every day, I would say, and don't forget I love you. Now, there were days that I would be irritated with them, and I would tell them, while I still love them, I did not like them right then. You
Which was honest.
That was being honest, but I would say from my family, that was just the home I grew up in.
Yes. I love that. People don't hear that enough.
No, and they
Especially
need
children. They really need
it.
that.
And these high school students probably need it more than the elementary.
That's true. They really need it in those years.
They do.
For that. How did you come up with your theme, to be kind?
It was just something I see in kids. I see in my own grandkids. I've got 6 grandkids, and I know that times have changed since when I was in school, and I know that there's an emphasis on bullying. There's things like that are going on, and I know that some kids go to school each day, and that is their escape from home sometimes.
Right.
And that's one of the things that I'm very proud of at Royse City ISD is that we have 95% of our school campuses are within the Capturing Kids' Hearts program. Mm-hmm. And so that's a big deal. I mean, I thought, if you can just teach kids to be kind to each other, that's going to turn the page on a lot of these guys.
It goes a long way. And to have that reminder in front of you to be
Right.
kind.
It's simple, and it's something that we all can do. So that was it. And other than that, I was born and raised here. My family was born around here. As a matter of fact, my great granddaddy, back in the 1800s, they settled here, and this is where my granddad was born. So over 120 years, there's been some summers around Royse City.
That is
And,
really cool.
So I've been here for a long time, and then the way that they chose it this time around was that they went out to the community and they asked the community. It was a community-wide effort to name the school, and I came out on top. Me and Rita Bailey. Now I wish we've got a spot right here, and I think she's sitting with us right now.
Yeah, she's probably in between us.
She probably. But Rita Bailey and Ruth and I were, that was and Rita and I, we were the two that they named the schools after. So
That's really
I was
an
very
honor.
honored, and I mean I'm very proud of it. I really am.
And it's a beautiful school. I drove by it today, and it's just
you ought to
it
go
is
inside.
So beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
Yes. Now your school's been around for a little while, right?
Yes, that was the school where the high school was.
Okay.
When I became high school principal.
It's such an honor. A lot of times communities unfortunately wait until someone is gone and they've passed away before they name schools after
Oh,
them.
girl,
And what
I
an
got
honor.
to tell you something. A little boy came up to me in church one Sunday, and he said, "Are you Ruth Cherry?" And I said, "Darling, I am." And he said, "I thought you were dead." so you're right, they do.
Yes, I love that. Royse City did not waste any time, so we get to enjoy this.
Oh, and I do.
I love that so much that you love doing that. And just children, they say the craziest things. So,
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I do have a question for you, Mr. Summers. You grew up here, you're from here, and you've done all of this. What made you want to be a voice for children? Like, what made you be on the school board all of these years and serve in announcing? Where'd that come from with you?
Well, I guess that my kids all went to school here. I went to school here. I've always had it's been a special place in my heart, the school district. And like whenever I graduated, we had like 30 kids that graduated. Now we've got 432 that graduated just the other night. And then from there, I just the love for the school just kept going, and I enjoyed it. Our class was great. I mean, we still stay in contact with each other after all these years, and so it's those things, and just the pride that we all had for being a Royse City Bulldog was really something that that we clung to, and
Yes.
and I still do.
Well, and it takes a lot of time to do all the games that you announce and the school board. And so what do you do in life other than all of your dedication to school?
Well, I'm retired now, so I've got a
Bobby,
little.
you've been retired for a long time.
No,
Why are you acting
I
like it's just right now?
I just retired.
It seems like yesterday,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's right. No, I'm retired, so I've got plenty of time. But it fills my time. But I mean, I don't do it to fill time. I do it because I love to do it.
Right. Well, and you were doing it. What was your career before? What did you retire from?
Well, the last time I was a financial advisor,
Okay.
and so I did that for about 10 or 12 years. And before that, for about 30 years, I was a transportation director.
Oh.
And so that was pretty much my career. I had 2 jobs in 40 years.
Oh, wow.
So-
Well, you really had 3 because of all the things you did at the school.
Yes.
Also,
Well,
because that really is
Yeah.
another job.
we do about 60 games a year. I announce about 60 games a year on football. And then of course, we have soccer, and then we have all the track meets as well. So
So you do the track meets too.
yeah, we do them all.
So you had to learn all the sports. Did you play all the sports when you were growing up?
I did.
Okay.
Oh, and here we go, Ruth.
I'm not-
Oh,
Here
come
we
on,
go.
Ruth.
I'm
You
going.
ready? Do you tell this truth or not? No? Okay.
He's paying
got
me
a
not
story. I know. I can tell. There's something going on over
to. No,
No.
no, it's just Bobby. He's funny.
here. Y'all are both funny. I mean, you guys seem like best friends.
Well,
We are good friends.
I know when Ashley
But
was.
now I'm better friends with his wife,
Yeah,
Okay.
and
she
he's
likes me
better
right.
friends with my husband.
Yeah. Oh, well, no. He let us come down and ride together today.
Yeah,
too.
he did.
That was another
I said, Bobby, do you realize Ben and Debbie aren't really worried about us going off together?
No, we got in the car together. And then I got in the car and I heard a voice in the back seat. It was Mary. And so Mary was back there. I said, well, I knew somebody was going to be watching over us.
Chaperone.
Yeah,
I realized
chaperone.
you guys needed a chaperone. I understand why
did.
Mary was back there
It's-
now.
It goes that direction sometimes.
Oh, Lord.
I love how much fun you guys have. Just you have
We
a
do.
joy for life. Like I can just
Oh,
see
we
it.
do. We do.
You don't have a heaviness about you. I mean, you
No.
love life. How did you get to that point? Because life hasn't always been easy for you.
No. Yeah, I think you make a choice. How are you going to live this day, in joy or in sadness? So I choose joy. I do. He does too. However, he sleeps more during the day
I take a
than
few
I do.
naps
He
during
takes
the
a few
day.
naps every day, but you know.
But I get up very early in the morning.
You get up early so you can take those naps.
Very early. So I do enjoy
How
that.
early?
This morning I got 3:30,
Oh,
and that's a little bit too early.
Well, I'm not going to say what I'm going to say.
No, don't say it. No,
I'm not going to
don't,
say it.
don't, Ruth, don't go
I'm
there.
not gonna-
Don't go
I may
there.
get a
Ruth.
headache from not saying it, but I'm
oh,
not saying
bless your heart. Well, let's talk about what do you guys love to do in your spare time now?
That's good. I don't
Wait,
know
did I
where
make
the
you both
spare time
speechless?
is.
Well, I'm just wondering. I like to go gambling.
Where do you like to go?
We go to Choctaw and Windstar.
Those are 2 popular places.
Uh-huh.
What's your
Yeah,
favorite
that's
thing
fun.
to do there? Do you have a favorite slot or do you like the tables?
I like to play video poker.
Oh,
That's
yes.
what I like to do. But when I first retired, Ben and I traveled a lot. We had a motorhome and we traveled, and would be gone 3 or 4 months at a time. But that's we're at a different chapter in our life now, and so we just go gambling.
You go gambling.
I like being with friends and neighbors, and our church is very important to us. Wouldn't you say the majority of our extracurricular involves our church?
I believe so. I
Wouldn't
believe
you
so.
think?
I
You
think
Do
know,
y'all
so.
go to the same church?
We go
The
to
same
the
church.
Methodist Church. You've had Pastor Chris on here.
Yes.
Yes, he's our pastor.
I've been a member of the.
He has a big heart for this community too.
Oh, he
Oh, he
does.
does. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am, he does.
And it just trickles down
Oh
into his
yeah,
congregation.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
We just really love him. But we go to the Methodist Church and we love it. And a lot of our friendships have are through the church.
Right. Right.
So
true.
yeah.
Bobby, what do you like to do?
We spend a lot of times with our grandkids. Now the little ones, we just like this last weekend. The 7-year-old little boy, he's on the select baseball team, so we went to one of his tournaments, and so we do that. And then we've got another granddaughter that's in competitive dance. We've got another one that's in college, actually, down at Texas A&M, so we don't get to see her very much. She's down at College Station. But most of it is, we spend a lot of time with the grandkids.
I
We-
hear that's
we
a very
enjoy that.
special thing. I'm not to that
It is.
season yet, but
But the other thing, too, that I really enjoy doing is whenever they invite me to come over to the school and something's going on over there, they've got a special occasion or something's going on that day, and I enjoy that. That's a lot of fun. And we get to go by each one of the classes, and I get to talk to some of the kids then. So that's I really enjoy that.
I bet that is really special to get to walk down those halls, and that has to be special for them too, for both of you to go back into your schools
is.
and let them see your face and really kind of be able to dream about that, and think, wow, I could make a difference in this world too, and have my name on a school, or that's something that doesn't happen for everyone. That something's named after them, and that's such a huge honor for that
Well,
to happen.
I called Ruth, and when after they named the school after me, I called Ruth. I said, Ruth, what do you do when she said, go by the school every morning, make sure they haven't taken your name off. So,
That's right.
That's great advice. I can see why Ruth would say that, though. How many times do you drive by? Wait, Ruth?
Every morning.
Making sure it's still there.
That's right.
Oh, I love that. I'm always interested, people who spend their life in education, just that journey. That's an incredible journey. It's such a service, and what were some of your biggest challenges when you were in administration and as a teacher? I guess, and how did you overcome them? Like, do you have a certain story that you'd want to share where you had something difficult to overcome?
I really don't. Yeah, you have things, you might have different issues. My biggest problem that I personally would have to overcome would be I worried about them when they weren't at school. I worried about them at prom nights. I worried about them in the summers. Because some children, their only meal may come while they're at school. So I wondered, how is that being taken care of? And I worried about some of the choices they would be making when they weren't at school. I knew that when they were in school, they were loved, and they were definitely being watched, and guided. But I worried about them like that because I really felt like they were mine.
Right. Well, and you got to spend more time with them than their
I
parents.
was spending more time with them, and the teachers were, than their parents were.
And it's so important, my prayer is always that God will put people in front of my children's lives that are a good influence for them.
Absolutely.
And help guide them and be there to
Yes,
have those conversations that are hard.
Yes, because most likely at the teenage level, I might know things before their parents did.
Almost always, I would think.
Yeah, they would come and tell you things. And, I wondered, Bobby, I would have been fired now if I was still working there because you can't talk to them as frankly as you did then.
Right. Did you call parents sometimes when you needed to? Or was that a hard judgment call on, is this something parents should do?
I did. I did some, but usually not.
Right. You just tried
Unless
to
it
help
got
guide them.
to the point that, the parent really needed to know, because I felt like it was important for us to show them the way to correct a mistake without their parents being there, because sometimes they get the idea that, well, maybe parents might run interference for them.
Right.
And I wanted them to get consequences.
That's important. That's
Yeah.
really how you learn your lesson.
It is.
From
It
those
is.
consequences.
And not that I wanted to do anything ugly to them, but I wanted to be able to talk to them sternly
Yes.
and let them know, look, son, you've messed up here. This is why.
And because you told them you loved them every day,
Yeah.
they
Oh,
knew
yeah.
that was out of love.
They never, I always told them that before we started the conversation.
Right.
You know, I do love you, son, but you have messed up. Or, darling, you have messed up. And so, yes, I call them some, but probably, I guess I could have called more, but it worked.
Right.
for
You were able to
us.
help them
Yeah,
and help
yeah.
navigate that. And
Uh-huh.
I bet it's a joy to run into students nowadays that
Oh, yes.
you help through those situations.
I've had students that have come by the house that had been incarcerated and just came in. You got out, you know, and they
Right.
would come by, Mama Cherry, I should have, you know, told you. You should have listened to you. I know, darling, I know, but you got it now. So
That's
let's
right.
go. So it's fun. It's fun watching them grow up and be successful.
Oh, and I'm so glad they have you to come back to. You need that home base.
Yes,
That person
yes,
that still
yes.
loves you and believes in you, even when
Yes,
you mess up.
yes,
So I love
yes.
that they call you Mama Cherry.
Yes, they do.
When did that develop? Was that while you were still in education?
Yes, yes. While I was still there, yeah. Uh-huh.
All right, one more question, then we've got to talk about what you love about Royse City.
Okay.
So, what's one of your favorite memories from being in education?
I don't know. I'm just flooded with so many. you know, just the whole experience is wonderful.
Oh, I'm sure.
It is wonderful.
It's a one-by-one
It is
individual
one-
experience.
Yeah, yeah. It's like having 1,000 children.
Right.
And how would you say one of them had a better memory than the other? You know, they were all just special.
Oh, yes. And you always have a teacher or principal that always comes to mind. That was extra special to you during your time you were growing up. So
I had all three of Bobby and Debbie's boys, Michael and Cody and Travis, or we called him T-Bone. But, you know, I've got wonderful memories with them. I've just got a lot of memories.
oh yeah, what a blessing to have that.
It is, it is.
Oh. Okay, we're on Heart of Royse City. So we've got
Okay.
to talk about what you guys love about Royse City. A lot of this has been about Royse City because we've been talking about the schools and everything. But let's talk about other things that you guys love about this community. Bobby, you go first.
You go first.
The people, the people in the town and how it's developed over the years, from the time that I was a little boy up till now. It's just a world of difference. There's so much between the town, the community, the consolidation of the Fate and the Royse City community that makes Royse City ISD. And the kids. We've got some great kids in
Amen.
Royse City.
Yes.
We go to some other sporting events or something that's going on over at some other schools, and we hear some things like that, especially board members,
Right.
and that we'll get feedback. And they just all the time, we have people just calling and saying, those kids from Royse City are so respectful. They behave themselves. And that makes me proud of what's going on. So that's that's I guess one of the things that the schools, the people, and the community is just and just love Royse City. Been here all my life, so
Right.
and just seeing that growth,
And that's a lot of growth.
a lot of growth.
I mean,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you've had generations of your family be
Well,
here, but even in your lifetime.
Yeah, and whenever I was in the first grade, our entire school had 350 kids. That was
Oh,
the
wow.
entire school, and now we've got 432 in one class by itself. So
Did you ever think it would grow to this size?
no, not this big. No, it's I can remember going, just walking downtown and going up and down the main street in Royse City and all the little stores that they had back then. You could even go into the stores and say, just put that on Dad's tab, and then if you put too much on there, you heard from Dad, about what was going on. But you could do things like that. So, yeah, it's but overall, it's the people in the community. That's what I love about it.
Do you have any favorite activities that go on in the community that you love that you just can't wait for it to come around each year?
Football season.
Football.
Football season. I just love football season. It's got there's a lot of other things that go along with it also, because we started out, I started calling football games, and there was another guy that was doing the work, and so he asked me, he said, Bobby, and I can't do all of these. Can you come down and do some of the junior high games? And so that's where it started. And in a little small press box that was, a lot smaller than where we are right now. But I mean, it was a little small press box, and barely 2 or 3 of us could fit in. And now we're in a $20 million stadium, and we've got about 5 people that are in that press box. But the unique thing about that is my grandson is 16, and he's my spotter.
Oh.
So he sits right next to me. And the guy next to me keeps the clock. He's my youngest son. The next guy to him down there is my middle son, and he does some other things inside the press box. And then my oldest son, he directs all the facilities for the school district.
Oh,
So
wow.
he's actually over that out there. So it's a family thing. Well, I have the privilege to be able to, and the honor to be able to get there and with my kids, and we have a ball doing it. So.
Oh, that is
Yeah.
so
Isn't that-
cool.
isn't it
I love
wonderful?
that. That is wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could tell you had no hesitation. You knew it was football, but now I understand why. I mean, not only the love of the sport,
That's,
but
it's
have
high
your-
school. It's high school football in Royse City, high school football in particular.
Right. That is so special. Man, that's something that you'll never forget, they'll never forget. And
No, because I played for Royse City, and my sons played. All 3 of them did, and but now my grandson, my 16-year-old grandson, he goes to school in Wiley. So
That's
Uh-oh.
tradition.
yeah,
he
we
moved
need-
away. He got out of the circle.
That's right. That's right.
Well, Ruth, let's talk about some things that you love about Royse City.
I just love everything about Royse City. I hear people say sometimes, well, if you're not from Royse City, you're left out. Well, I'm not from Royse City. I wasn't born here, but I got here as quick as I could. And I'm telling you what, you get yourself involved and you will love it. I love this town. They're so accepting. I have never felt like an outsider here, ever, ever. And if the people think you have a need, they're there with it. They will help you any way they possibly can. And I love that about them. I love that we just passed a bond issue by how much percentage?
72%.
72%.
Yes.
Now, I grew up with a daddy that was a superintendent, and if he could have ever gotten a bond issue passed like that, he wouldn't have known what to do. But it's
Right.
because that the school board and the schools, they're good stewards of the tax dollar. And so those are the kinds of things happen. And I think when you have good schools, you have good communities
Amen. Yes.
and good churches.
Yes. And all of that brings good people
That's right. That's exactly right.
all together. And it does start with the schools. That's a lot of times what attracts people to a community
That's
or their
right.
school district.
That's right.
And then it's everything else that the community offers, but it does start
It
with
will
the schools.
build from that.
It really will.
Yes.
It will. Okay, well, I asked you both to pick a number before we hit start, and you both picked one. So, Mr. Summers, we're going to start with you.
Okay.
You chose the number 20. And so I'd like to ask just a random question.
Okay.
So your random question for number 20 is, what is the smartest thing you have ever done?
I know what you better say. I married Debbie Summers.
Yeah, we've got a 47th wedding anniversary
I
coming
know,
up.
that's why I'm saying
That
it.
was July the 6th. And so, that is one. That is one. I'm going to say that
Oh,
because
Debbie.
we went
I'm
we went on a blind date in April, and we got married in July,
Whoa,
and we've been married for 47 years.
that's really awesome.
And it wasn't the smartest thing that I ever did, but it was something that I'm glad that I had a little bit of knowledge about it. I say that, no, I didn't. I didn't have a lot of
How
knowledge
much
about it. But
knowledge could you have from April to July?
no, but the other thing that just pops in my mind all of a sudden is I delivered my youngest son
On I-30.
Wow.
on the Interstate 30, going to the
On the way to the hospital?
on the way to the hospital.
How did
and
you
that
do
was
that?
I don't know.
Crying.
But yeah,
Did
I'll
you,
cry.
I mean,
Debbie told
did you
him.
call 911? Did someone talk you through it? Like,
no, we didn't have cell phones.
oh, that's true. We didn't. That's right.
No, we didn't have cell phones. It was only
So
Good
what-
Friday. It was only Good Friday, and it was in 1982.
Okay.
And so it was 39 years ago.
Wow.
And so I just kind of misjudged it myself. My wife told me, I mean, it was the third child, and I was in taking a shower, and she said, Bobby, I think we need to go right now. And so we did, and we didn't make it out of town and didn't make it very far. And so anyway, it happened. And
Did you just have to like pull over on the side of the road?
never stopped. Never stopped. My mother-in-law was actually in the back seat, and she had 7 kids before,
Okay.
and her name was Joyce. And I told her, I said, Joyce, what do we do? She said, I have no idea. And so she was in the back seat, and she had lost it, so she was screaming and crying herself that
Right.
fixing to have a baby in the car, and so anyway, he came and. We held him upside down, and she said, "What'd I do?" And I said, "Spank him on the tail." I just thought they'd do on TV. So she did that, and then I stuck my finger in his mouth, and then he let out a big yell, and I said, "Hey, we're good."
Wow.
And,
Why did you turn him upside down? Is that what you're supposed to do?
Dr. Welby did it on
Dr.
TV.
Marcus Welby on TV. That's what they did. Yeah, it was the same thing.
So you turned him upside down, spanked him on the tail.
held him by his ankles, and I was driving with one hand, and then my mother-in-law was in the back. She was hysterical.
Wait, you're driving down the road holding your newborn baby up?
Yes.
She grabbed his feet, and then I was over there, and then so anyway we did that, and then we pulled into a gas station, and pulled up there to the gas pump, and they actually cut the cord there at the gas pump. We did have an ambulance that was not very far away, so.
What did they cut
The
the
birth
cord with
certificate-
at the
the
gas
birth-
station?
That wasn't actually no, we didn't use any kind of pair of pliers or anything like
That's
that.
what I'm
No,
envisioning. I'm like, you pull up to the gas
No.
station and there's
I didn't mean to say that. I didn't mean that. What we did actually, we called some medical assistance, and an ambulance came up.
okay.
And the technicians or the guys that got out, and they did that.
Okay, my next question was gonna be, how did you tie it off after you
Did it.
cut it? But
They-
the ambulance came
the-
and the paramedics
The
did that.
paramedics did it.
Gosh, you don't think
And we
about
actually
that.
had paramedics then, but I don't even think they called them paramedics. I don't even think they were really, they knew how to drive the ambulance.
Right.
And that was. So, but.
Travis's birth certificate, the address of his birth is on
It's 3 miles east of Rockwall on Interstate 30, and it's got the attending physician is Bobby Summers.
Does it really say that?
Yes,
His
it
birth
does.
certificate says that. That is incredible. That is hysterical.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh my goodness. That's a
So-
great story. I think that is, I would agree, that's the smartest thing you've ever done.
That's the smartest thing I ever did, I guess.
I mean, Debbie was smart. That
The
was the
smartest
first
thing I
smartest.
ever did was put my finger into his mouth to clear his airway. So that's the smartest thing I ever did.
So if you had never
and-
seen that TV show, you wouldn't have known to do that.
And he may have not lived, I don't know, but I mean,
Right. Yeah,
but,
because you wouldn't know.
but he's a big, healthy boy now, and
Oh.
he's got 2 wonderful kids, and live right here in Royse City, very successful. So
Oh,
they're doing great.
that's awesome. What a cool story.
Yeah,
I'm
it's-
glad I asked you that question.
Yeah, that's the
Man.
smartest thing I ever did, I guess, isn't it, Ruth?
I think so, Bobby. I think you got it, baby.
Wow, that is probably the craziest story about giving birth outside of a hospital I've ever heard.
I see it on TV every once in a while, and it'll come on TV. We never made TV. They didn't say anything.
I don't know why they didn't.
They didn't say a thing
Well,
about it.
it should have made TV.
Oprah didn't
That-
call you or anything.
Oh, no, I don't think Oprah was around then.
That's incredible. Okay, Ruth, you ready for your question? You picked the number 13.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
If you could change one thing about your upbringing, what would it be?
Absolutely nothing.
Ah, nothing. There's not one thing you would change.
I would not change one single thing.
Really?
I was blessed with parents that taught me values and morals, and they taught me how to have fun.
They did. I can see
Yeah,
that in
they
you.
did.
You
They
have
taught
fun
me
no
how
matter
to
what
have
you're doing.
fun, and those are skills that I have used throughout life.
I love that. Okay, well, that's a great answer. So I want to ask you Bobby's question. What's the smartest thing you've ever done?
By finally getting Ben Cherry to say yes when I asked him to marry me.
You asked him to marry you?
Oh, yes.
Oh, tell us the
And
story.
Well, I met Ben on a Friday at my fiance's house. and Ben's mother was friends with my fiance's mother. And Ben was on his way for his second tour in Vietnam. He was a military man. And so I met him on a Friday night, and Ben was buying a house for his mother to live in. And I drove by that house, and he was out trimming hedges and stuff like that, trees. And I said, Ben, how are you going to haul those off? He said, I don't know. And I said, well, come go with me, and we'll go get my daddy's truck. And so we did. And he said, I introduced him to my mother and daddy, and I told him who he was, and I said, we're going to haul off some limbs. Okay. So we go to haul them off, and Ben's driving, and I'm sitting in the middle, and his mother's sitting over on this side, and we're going down this country road, and my arm is rubbing up against him, and whoa! I thought, man, I have never felt this before. So I broke my engagement the next day. On Sunday, Ben and I had our first date on Tuesday, and we had our second date on Thursday, and I asked him 3 times that day to marry me.
On Thursday.
On Thursday. And I must say, he was drinking a little bit when he said, oh, all right, the last time. And so that was, then on Friday morning, we got married.
The very next day?
Yes, and
Is
he
this-
left on Sunday for Vietnam. So I knew him 7 days when we married. 9 days, and then 10 days. How much is 7 and 2? 9. 9 days he left for Vietnam for a year.
Rick, I am speechless.
And that was 52 years ago.
That is incredible.
Isn't that wonderful?
That is such a cool
But yeah,
story.
honey, he is such a good man.
How did you know that, though?
I just knew it in my core. I just knew it. He was a good man, and that's who God wanted me to have, and I went after him with everything I had. I'm just be honest with you.
I believe it. And it worked.
It worked. It did.
What was it like when he came back from Vietnam? I mean,
Well, I met him at 6 months in Hawaii on R&R.
okay.
But when they brought the guys to Fort DeRussy there in Honolulu, he didn't recognize me. But he had a name tag on, and it said Cherry, and I knew that my last name was now Cherry, and I said, woo-hoo, over here. And so that went good. We were there for a week. And then when he came home, then we spent the next 10 years moving from place to place in the military.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is incredible. I have no words for that. Like,
Isn't it
it takes a
good?
minute
Isn't
to
it
process
good?
that. That is
It's
amazing that
good.
it worked, and it's 50, how many years did you say? 50?
52. And
52
honey, he
years.
is a stud muffin. If you could see him, he is my stud muffin. Isn't he, Bobby?
That's the truth.
He
That's
is.
what she calls him.
Oh, I love
I do. I call him
that.
stud muffin.
Do you really?
Yeah, I
That's
do.
so
Yeah.
precious.
Yeah.
We need to have him on the show. I
Oh,
want to
honey.
hear the other side
Oh,
of that
man,
story.
I'm
He can tell
telling
you some stories.
Hunk of burning love there.
I call him the Colonel.
He calls him the colonel.
colonel.
He was not a colonel. He was a master sergeant.
Oh, man. That is so awesome. I love that story. Thank you for sharing that with
Well,
us.
you asked.
Well, I'm glad I did. I am so glad I asked you that question. Man, you guys, it has been such a pleasure to sit down with you today. I've loved
I've
your
enjoyed
stories.
this.
I have too. Thank you for
want us
having
back
us.
sometime?
Yes, we need part
Yeah,
two.
we'll come back. Yeah, we'll
Come back again.
Okay, I'll let you pick the topics this time. How about that?
We'll
We could
you.
interview her.
That's right.
There we
Oh,
go.
no.
Oh, we can come up
Listen.
with some good questions.
Oh,
couldn't we?
we'll come up with our own questions
That's
next
right.
time. That works.
Listen, I can't top you being married in 7 to 9 days or delivering a baby driving down 30. I don't have those kind of stories yet.
And
so
that's how you get a school named after you, folks.
that's a wrap. That's perfect. Drop the mic. That's how you get the school named after you. You guys are awesome. I do see exactly why Royse City named 2 schools after you. And you have left such an incredible legacy. Thank you so much for sitting down with me and sharing that with me today.
Thank you for asking us.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
Thank you for watching Heart of Royse City. This video series, which is designed to celebrate Royse City, Texas, is spearheaded by REMAX 3D Real Estate.